All right, take it away, Josh, when you're ready. And once again, everyone else is on live audience mode, or if they're putting down feedback, put it in the Google Doc, which is in the meeting description.
Cool. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Can you all see this? I can't tell what you can see. Oh
Yep.
no, what did it share? Did it share my like messages?
You should be sharing your your Chrome application.
Yeah.
So when you go to Google Zoom, share just share Chrome. I think that this is correct.
It was. So you
Yeah,
can see you can see GitLab and the commits master.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And if I scroll to the right and to the left, can you still see this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Okay, we'll get started. Hey everyone, thanks for hopping on this call. I know we've discussed a little bit about GitLab, and you all expressed just a little bit of interest in doing a little bit of a demo here. So I just kind of wanted to give a bit of an overview as to like what the workflow might look like for a developer, but also how this could be applicable for the few of you who are in management here. So we'll kind of discuss version control, then we'll go into CI/CD. We'll then flow into some DevSecOps, and we'll finish with some agile work. And also brief segue here. I may throw in a couple things that are related to PubSec over here. I think I'm the only PubSec person here, so if anything sounds a little bit off, just let me know, and I might be using some PubSec lingo that's not used in other areas of GitLab, so just let me know. Okay, so for version control, basically here we have GitLab, and within GitLab, this is your normal SCM. You've probably seen a setup like this many times. You can see all of the files here. You've got your commits that we have. So this is, you can see everybody that is committing in GitLab. You've got files such as gem files that you can, as you dive into all of these commits, you can kind of go in here and see you can see the history behind all of these files. So these are people who are, putting in changes to these files. Then I also wanted to open up what we have as Web IDE, which makes development a lot easier for non-developers. So this helps with the value of collaboration and whatnot that GitLab espouses. So basically,
Josh,
anybody can come. Yes.
Our developers, they use Python and JavaScript primarily. Like what language are supported for your SCM tool?
We support basically every language for development purposes. So even beyond, of course, Web IDE. But if you've got Java, C++, they'll all be fine developing in GitLab. So GitLab makes it accessible for all different types.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Did I lose you, Chris? Are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Uh-oh. Did I lose you all?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Sorry, yeah. It seemed like everybody froze for a second. Sorry. Okay. And now what I want to do is actually bounce over to continuous integration and continuous development here. So what we can see is we actually have this built into GitLab. So as everything is put in as a merge request, it can go through all the stages of a normal pipeline. You can build that out. So for example, here are some merge requests that are coming in, and you can actually see in this merge request, there's some collaboration happening around the pipeline. So you've got some pipeline stuff right here. And once you kind of dive into the actual, once you dive into the actual pipeline, you can see what's happening behind the scenes at all points of the merge process. So from testing to fixtures, build images, we'll actually dive a little bit into to the GitLab product. Any questions surrounding that?
Yeah, Josh, I know our development teams, they use Jenkins right now. And it's going to be a huge political battle to like migrate people off of some of their existing tooling. So which of this stuff like can work?
So what? Hello?
Yeah, is my sound coming through okay?
It's kind of coming in and out. I don't know if is it me, or can everybody else hear me, or?
Yep, I can hear you. But
okay, so is it my fault? Is it on my end?
I think it might be Chris. Is Chris coming out in and out for everybody else?
I think Josh, you have some breaks sometimes. I missed out some seconds also before, but I don't know.
Okay. I'm like even hardwired into my internet router. Let's see here. We good to keep going? Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, let's keep going. This is something that will happen in your live demos, which I think is actually something that's important to, I mean, you will have technical difficulties in the demos that you deliver. So it's important to know how to like segue, give proper expectations, which what you're doing right now, and to just push through like beyond the awkwardness. So I'm just going to go back into like customer mode. So Josh, thanks for showing me your CI/CD. I see the value in some of this. So can you go back to that one tab in which you had that entire fan open? So,
this one?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that I see over here is we generally have a lot of different tools that do a lot of this stuff. So building images, we use Docker for that. Code quality, we use PyTest and something else for JavaScript. So I'm just curious as to like how this CI/CD integrates with our current stuff. Is it like an all or nothing approach, or can we keep some of our own tooling? And if so, like how would we go about doing that?
That's a really, really good question, Chris. One of the cool things about GitLab is it is an all-encompassing solution if you're ready for that, but we also don't expect for every company to rip and replace. So we build GitLab in a manner that it can integrate with pretty much any tool available. So whatever you're using in your development process, if you want to use GitLab CI/CD with whatever SCM version control you're using, or security, whatnot, we make that possible and easy for you. I will say though that one of the larger benefits and what we want to push everybody towards eventually to is adapting GitLab as a total DevSecOps solution, because it does exist within one interface, one application. So that way you don't have all these tools that are trying to work together that will break all the time. So, but again, we understand that that's not always possible on the front end to just rip and replace. So yes, you'll be able to do that.
That sounds great. So how would I go about integrating this with Jenkins or something like that?
We have a ton of of documentation on our website about how to on how to integrate with specific products. I don't know the specifics of how to get in with Jenkins, but I will get that to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Any other questions?
That's it for my info now. If
Cool.
anyone else has any for my team, then feel free to ask as well.
Cool. Well, we'll go ahead and move real quickly over to DevSecOps. So I kind of mentioned this briefly a moment ago about how security is embedded within GitLab. So again, here we've got some merge requests. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to pull up this pipeline here, and around the test section, you can see SAST testing. We've got DAST and SAST. We've actually also within our roadmap just recently released our first round of fuzz testing. So we GitLab had acquired Peach Tech. So that's very exciting for the future of security tooling into the DevSecOps framing, because it's already right here. So I actually wanted to show you this too within the maturity of the security product. So this shows you kind of where we are and how developed it all is right now. So secret detection, license compliance, container scanning, dependency scanning, and fuzz testing. And then in the future, and this is actually something you can see for clearly all of GitLab is what's coming in the future. But we're always iterating on our product, always trying to get better. So that's DevSecOps, which I wanted to show you. Are there any questions surrounding that before we move on to Agile Planning?
I'm thinking right now, are there different pricing tiers, or is this like you get everything with like, how does that work in terms of the tier structure that we have?
For sure. Here, I'll show you this real quickly. There are different tiers of pricing with GitLab. So we have right now a free version called Core. We also have Bronze and Starter, Silver, Premium, and Gold and Ultimate. And the difference between those, all of like the slashes, the Silver, Premium, Gold, Ultimate, is just self-hosted versus hosted mechanism. So if you're in the public sector like I am, most of everything is self-hosted. So you'd be looking at an Ultimate or Premium product. So as you can, one of the benefits to the Ultimate tier, kind of coming into what you just said, Chris, is that security really does come into the forefront fully during or in the Ultimate tier. So we can talk a little bit more about that structure if you want, but does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious if we can hook in like our existing security things as well. So we already have all these license subscriptions for like Nexus and a lot of different other scanning tools. There's another team that does all of that stuff. And they already have a multi-year contract. So I'm curious as to, I think this might be just asking the same question again, but does GitLab work with these other things? Like how would that work? Where like we have a build in GitLab, and then can we still use the other stuff as part of GitLab?
Yes, absolutely. We totally understand that you might have contracts existing for multiple years. So again, we're not trying to, get everybody to just rip and replace everything. So if you all are using Nexus and that's working for you, we'd, like that, we can absolutely make that work within the GitLab frame. I will say if there's an interest in the future, we'd be happy to demo out the full capabilities of security, so you can understand once that contract with Nexus is ending, we'd be able to just show you what GitLab could accomplish. within the security phase. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Okay, and now I just kind of wanted to finish up by showing you all a little bit of the agile planning. So as you know, this is a very important space within DevOps right now, is agile planning. So GitLab actually allows a very robust issue system where here you can see all the issues that are coming into GitLab. You've got all the tags that are associated. For example, here's one issue that's open, and you can kind of see here's some burn down, burn up charts, which we'll get to in a little bit. But it outlines exactly what needs to happen for this to be accomplished. So you can see down towards the bottom the collaboration between all the developers and non-developers too. And you can, it's a robust system where you can reference other issues and other areas of GitLab. So wanted to go from there and show you some of milestones and ethics. These are just ways to organize some of the issues. So issues or epics would surround like a very particular a topic. So then from here for the management, as management's taking a look at everything within GitLab, or I'm sorry, everything that's happening with agile planning, you can see how things are coming along. You can see perhaps there are some bottlenecks that are developing in the process. Just by, for example, here's the issue dashboard. Then wanted to kind of show you the burn down charts and burn up charts, which is something that can be used to, again, identify if there are bottlenecks. So for example, with this, there's a significant amount of work that still needs to be done in this particular. Before everything is completed. So anyways, I hope that made sense. Does anybody have any questions surrounding Agile?
Yeah, Josh, I think that your sound just cut out. Can you talk to me more about what's happening on this tab? It was just this tab.
Oh, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, sorry. This is the roadmap, the Epic roadmap. So basically, this allows you to visualize all of the epics and how they're progressing, if they're being accomplished on time. Just kind of give you a visualization into the overarching progress of the company and the projects surrounding it. So does that help?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool.
Hey Josh, I have a question.
Sure.
In which tier does agile planning kind of belongs or falls under?
Believe that Agile can be found even in some of core. You're catching me off guard. Let me see. I will find that out for you just to make sure.
I'm sorry, actually, I'm curious as well. That's why.
Of course. Let's see. Let's see. Oh no, what's happening? Chris, maybe you can jump in here and just affirm that I'm right or not. That I think Agile is more or less throughout the entire GitLab offering. Is that correct?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's spread out through all the different tiers. For like Agile planning, there's like 20 to 40 different features, and they're just distributed.
Cool.
I guess depends how many projects you have in your organization, and then based on the different tiers, maybe Agile Planning can have more capacity in terms of, how many lines you can view in a dashboard per se, or not.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Mhm. Cool. Any other questions?
I think that's good. All right, so let's
Let me have it.
No, I was gonna do that. You came in at around 19 minutes. Just writing that down.
Cool.
All right, so Josh, you get a big round of applause for going first. That's really awesome that you did that. So that
Thanks.
takes courage. Come on, you man.
First thing in the morning, I'm still drinking my coffee. So
I'm still drinking my coffee first. So yeah, I think that you did a great job overall. And here's the format of how we're going to give feedback. So the first thing that we're going to do is just go around, give mostly the positive things, first impressions, specific things that you liked. After we had a round of going around, around the table and talking about like the positive, we'll give specific things to improve and work on. I wrote my things down in the Google Doc just so that Josh had a list of things that he could, reference in the future. So I'll go first just to kick things off. Josh, I think you did a great job for your first like demo. I think that this was solid. So like keep in mind, like I've seen hundreds and hundreds of people, new hires, new SAs give demos, and I think that your demo is good. Specific things that I liked about it is that I liked your energy, I liked your pace. I thought that you were very customer facing, which I thought was really good. I felt like you knew the product well, and that you knew that you had insight to offer, which was really great too. I really liked how you handled the technical question that you didn't know. So like, once again, y'all aren't SAs, and it's very like, I thought that I really liked how you handled like, hey, I don't know the answer to this right now, but let me get back to you. So when I was a new SA at Red Hat, we had 25 different products, and a lot of the people that we talk to are more technical than we are, right? It's just a fact. And in my career, I've used that exact line maybe 50 to 100 times. I've never had someone kick back and like call me out on not knowing something. People understand if you don't, that you're not going to know every single like thing about your product. So I really, really liked how you did that. So that's just me starting things off. Does anyone else have any positive feedback for Josh?
I agree with the same. I liked the enthusiasm, and he went into explaining things. Also, when there was maybe a little bit of an issue with an answer, if you didn't know it at the moment right away to answer, you gave good guidelines. Like, I will send you a proper documentation, or we can have a next call to discuss more around it. So I think it went pretty well. Good job.
Thank you.
No, I totally agree, Josh. I also think that something I really enjoyed was there's a few slides there which I personally have not seen in a demo. And I like how you kind of really went into detail on the roadmaps and the burn down charts. I like how you kind of made it really visual, following the steps and seeing what's happening, what's up to date, what's lagging. And from my side, that was at least quite new and actually was kind of like, oh, that's really interesting. So that part was really good. And overall, well done, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with the above already. I think it was very nice flow. And I thought it was amazing that you never got really stuck on something. And even if you would, I mean, it was, very nice switch over to the next topic. So it was not boring at all to watch you. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you clearly see that you're not afraid to talk, and you have a very good expression, everything. And you feel it feels comfortable to listen to you, and you're not boring or anything. And you have a very nice voice and everything to it. So it felt really like a private, nice conversation, and you were trying to show certain aspects of GitLab, how they can be beneficial, but in a very friendly manner and not nosy or anything. So I liked your tone a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that, because it's certainly not how I felt on the inside. So thanks.
All right, let's switch over to constructive feedback. Who wants to go first?
Let me have it.
No, I really think. Oh, sorry.
And besides the technical stuff, I think we all mentioned we lost your sound a few times, but that's obviously nothing. I guess that's
Yeah,
on,
that's just technical
on
issues.
you. And
I
I guess
think.
also we could have said like, hey, we lost you there for like 10, 15 seconds. But I mean, as Chris said, these technical things generally happen. And again, you were like, "How? What's up? Do you have any questions?" So I don't really have any negatives that are from your side, just more the technical side. But yeah.
I think we in sales or inside sales more or less, since we're not technical, of course, we don't understand the products in details. We can go very into like deep dive sessions. We try to explain things or over explain things sometimes. I'm not sure if anyone noticed that, but sometimes I do also that on the calls. Like I already made my point, and I'm like continuing explaining. It's like, okay, it's enough. Stop it. It's all right. You already did it. So my point, my point being made is if you use more words to explain something, it means we don't understand it well. But I'm not saying it for every product that you explained was the case. I think it was somewhere in the middle. I think, yeah. And the beginnings also always when we start with in the beginnings, I'm also the same. Like I don't know how I will be accepted by the audience. So I think with practice, everything can be overcome. So less words. And more straight to the point.
Yeah, from my side, the only thing that I would have done a little bit differently, but I don't know if this was your plan or anything, to start from A to Z, but to at the beginning ask the person, what do you want to see? What are you most curious? And then they say, for example, I want to know about burn down charts, because maybe they know all about this and that, what you showed them. Just ask them, what do you want to see? And then when he mentioned Jenkins, for example, okay, it's maybe CI they want to replace, then you focus more on the CI, but just ask them what they want to see and then just focus on this. And have them,
cool.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's not something that I told Josh to do, but I do think that is something that would be a really great thing to do.
A very good point, Alexander. I think now when I go back in the beginning of this conversation, maybe, having it split like an agenda or saying, these are things I'm going to talk about, and then which ones would you like me to start with? Or should I start just from the beginning? Good point.
Yeah, for my end, I think that it was a really, really great job overall. The specific pieces of constructive feedback that I have is you say and you know a lot, and I actually say you know a lot too. I'm just letting you know, like, were you aware that that's your tick?
I know that is a tick. I wasn't sure about, but I'm not surprised. So
If I ever do these things too, feel free to call me out on them. I'm trying to get better at it as well. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, I definitely know that it becomes my default when I feel uncomfortable. So
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great job overall. I think that one of the things that I'd point out is I know that when we're talking about our technical capabilities and stuff, it's really, I feel like it's really important to know that most people don't know what DAST, fuzz testing, and maybe even burn down charts are. In the specific sense that, like, unless you're a security person, you don't know what like a lot of the security things are. You probably know what like things like dependency scanning are, but I wouldn't assume that it's almost like so I guess like let me rephrase. If you go to a hardware store and you're looking at something like a lawnmower, then saying like, oh, it's got X, Y, and Z super technical things, like if it's just an average person who's like a homeowner, then it might be too technical for them. And it could just be saying, like, we have state-of-the-art security things, so let me explain what these things are. Now you seem like a trusted advisor. So most engineers just like do not know what DAST is, and they also don't really know what things like a burn down chart. Most people don't have burn down charts, so I would introduce some of these things as like as like potentially like a new topic as opposed to assuming that the audience knows what they are. But it depends on the audience too. If you have a security centric like audience, they will know what these things are. Great. Okay, let's have a round of applause for Josh once again. Good job for going first.
Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Christina, are you ready to take it away?
Well, more or less. Let's see.
All right. So are you going to do the shorter or longer version of the demo? Or
version, yes, the developer flow.
okay. And the other thing is, so we didn't do this the first time, but once we go into presentation mode, like I'm no longer like, we are no longer SDRs at GitLab. We are prospects. So like I'm just gonna, if you ask me like a question like, hey Chris, you know, ask me to explain something or whatever, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm not Chris, the SA from GitLab. I'm senior director from like some company. So I'm gonna get completely into character for the entire presentation. Let me get the timer real quick. All right, feel free to take it away.
Great. So, hi everyone again. Based on the conversation we had up until now, I think it might make sense to give you a better visual of GitLab. So just to set expectations right here, I don't have any engineering background, but I'm happy to show you what I know. So if you would like to see just, the real basic developer flow, I'm happy to show you something right now. Would that be of interest? Great.
Great.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen with you just real quick. Just a second. Okay. Can you see here GitLab? White surface?
Yes.
Great. Okay, perfect. Just give me a second. Okay, so what you see here is the basic GitLab SaaS and specifically source code management here in this tab. So this is our versioning software and it is basically a complete solution. If you have ever used GitHub, Bitbucket, something like this is very similar to what we have, and we have even more to offer in some aspects. So here you can see all the different files that are in my project. This is the GitLab project. And as I said, we have a complete versioning solution. So what we mean by that is that we can go to the history view here. Let's open it. And we see what has been done here in the last couple of minutes, by whom and when. So if I want to dig a bit deeper, I could even go into each topic and see what kind of changes have been made. Okay, so I can also see, sorry, I just got stuck here. Just bear with me for a second until I can show you the right tabs. So here we are back. So if I go here into a file and I click on history, I can see even the changes that have or have not been done within a specific file. And again, by whom and when. Great. So this was a bit about source code management. I can show you when it comes to a specific issue. So here we are in a specific issue. Issues are basically just discrete units of work for our engineers. An issue could be creating a new chart, creating a new button, or just adding some new functionality on your website. So we have really great project management here at GitLab. This is just an example of one issue. And you can see what has been done in each issue. First of all, you see the description by the engineer, what he's trying to achieve, the proposal, and then you see collaboration from different stakeholders within the issue. But let's take also a look at the right-hand side. So here you see the assignee, so who's responsible for this one, the epic it's related to which milestone it's related. but also time tracking. So this could be really important for management or leadership, for example, to keep track, an overall track later at your project. So here an engineer can define how much time he has spent on each issue and have it logged in the system. So this assures transparency and accountability throughout your whole organization if you want to use that. You can add a due date here and make use of labels. Labels could be either, for example, specific engineering departments or units of your organization. And last but not least, I mean, there are more things, of course, to add, but is weight. So it could be a really important item, a very big work item that you've been working on, and you can give more weight than to some smaller issues, for example, that was just about changing a quick button on your website. So yes, this was an issue. And after an issue has been solved and discussed thoroughly and the engineer feels like, okay, it's ready, he would create a merge request. Here's an example of a merge request in order to have the code actually changed. So over here in the merge request, again, you see, I just give you a general overview of all the merge requests. This is how it looks. And again, you have a very good overview about the labels that are involved here. So the departments that might be working on, or the engineering departments, plus when it has been worked on last. But going into a specific merge request, as here, for example, you see again, what, let's say the definition. So what this merge request is supposed to do, what the engineer tries to achieve with that. And then you would see, again, collaboration on the issue here by different stakeholders.
Hey, Christina, I have a question.
Yes, please, Chris, how can I help?
Yeah, so we have a lot of open source projects that we work on, and our business is that we basically sell services on the open source projects. And because of that, we get a lot of community contributions. So can you walk me through what sort of approval mechanisms you have for merge requests?
Yes, okay, so this would go into really technical depth. However, I would just be happy to send you over the documentation after this call. I can get this sorted for you, and then we can even have another session just going through these specifically, if that's okay.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, I'll have some of my security engineers on the next call just to make sure that it meets our compliance requirements.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, we can do a security deep dive certainly in a follow-up call. So I just wanted to give you here a brief overview anyway, so feel free if you have any other questions moving forward. So if we go into the changes here, in a merge request, you see with everything that is marked green here, the changes that should actually happen, opposed to the red lines here that yeah, should be replaced or taken out. So the code changes that are supposed to happen here. And also very important, you can have a look into the pipeline directly. So you can see what happened in your pipeline. So if a test failed, for example, if it has passed, if we canceled it, yeah, again, very transparent for all the different stakeholders that are working on a project. So once again, what is very important here is that a merge request gives your engineers high quality feedback so that we can make the best informed decision about whether or not we should change this code into the manner that has been described in the merge request itself. So talking about pipelines, here is an idea about the CI in the background, right? So as you can see, there are very different stages to it. The first stage is to prepare our environment. The second is to build images. And what is very important here is the testing stage. Just scroll a bit down because there's plenty of tests that are happening here. So over here, this is really where all the magic happens. So where my developers get all the feedback and whether or not they are going to the right path or not. Unit tests or integration tests are happening here. And also one thing that really sets us apart is that our security tests are running as well in this stage. So things such as dust scanning, independency scanning, vulnerability scanning, this is all built into GitLab CI. Ultimately, making sure that all engineers, again, have high quality feedback on the changes and the changes that they are proposing themselves through their merge requests.
Hey, Christina, I got a question about this screen. So is this something that's customizable, or like how? It seems like there's a lot of stuff here, and we have a bunch of really weird security requirements in our environment. So I imagine that some of the things that we have are going to be kind of non-traditional. We have like a disconnected environment. So like, how do we configure this? Like, how configurable is this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is what I wanted to show you next. So thanks for leading me there, Chris. So this is completely configurable in our .gitlab-ci.yaml file here. So basically all the stages that I just showed here are completely customizable. So you have your configuration file here, and yeah, it's up to you what you like to build and how you would like your stages and pipelines to run.
Thank you.
Does this help? Your question?
Yeah, I'm also curious as to when all of this stuff gets triggered. So does it get triggered on every merge request, or like how do we, like, what options do we have for when all of this stuff happens?
That's a really great question too, but Chris, I need to dig a bit deeper with technical support here. I don't want to give you a wrong answer, so I'm happy to follow up again with an answer, if that's
Sounds
okay.
great.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So you asked me already, so this was the our YAML file, how you can configure all your different stages. Yeah, there's really nothing to add, but that file also lives in our repo itself. So making things version controlled and really easy to see from an accountability perspective. Yeah, I think that's all I can show you for now, but please let me know if you have any questions for me.
Does anyone from the team have any questions for Christina? All right, we'll close it out. Yeah, round of applause for Christina.
I'm sweating.
Yeah, it's hard. Good job. Yeah, great job. How did you feel going through it? And I want to hear like what you thought about it yourself before we dive into positive and constructive feedback.
Yeah, I think this needs a lot of practice. I mean, I tried to do it twice beforehand, but I mean, I really got stuck like 2 or 3 times. So yeah, I think I reached the target in the end, but I had a lot of stops that I didn't want to happen as it happened. But okay, good for practice.
Yeah, that's great. I remember that like sometimes when we have these new essays come on board, these people who have like 2 to 4 years of experience, like they start sweating too. A matter of fact, I think I did the first time I went through this as well, so it's totally normal. Who wants to kick off positive feedback?
I thought it was. Oh,
Go for it. Go for it.
okay. I thought overall, like, it felt super natural, and it felt like right from the beginning, like where you were setting expectations right up front. I thought that was really, really, really positive. So I felt like the flow, it felt like you knew what you were talking about, you were confident. It made me, and I think everybody else, feel very comfortable trying to, follow what you were doing. And so yeah, I mean, pretty much all positives from my end. Yeah.
Thank you. Not how I felt it, but thank you.
Yeah, I think you set expectations at the start, and this is a very good thing to do. And you basically just said you want to give a brief overview, and have no engineering background, so it's just like showing off from a lay point of view what we can do. And if we want to dig deeper, there is people within GitLab who can establish it, who can show you this, and you can go, dig deeper in another call, or you can send documentation over. So this was very well established from the start, so the expectations were not too high.
Thank you.
I agree with everyone. I mean, good flow, definitely. Seems like you've been working in this field for a longer time. You did
Chris,
prepare well. I mean, you studied a lot for the demo. Did you do it before at home?
No, I
Or
did it once. I mean, I tried to write some bullets because I need I need a line, let's say, how I go along. But
Mhm.
I tried to do it once before, yeah.
Good stuff.
Chris, I was curious to the questions that you were asking there. Are we curious to hear what you would see as an ideal answer to like some of those? Because obviously, of course, there's obviously the one where it's, we'll revert back with some technical stuff. But I'm curious, like from your side, you being the one asking it in a prospect's point of view, what kind of answer, again, not going too technical, would you like to hear? I know you asked quite a few there, but like that's a general one to Josh's call and also in Christina's. See some good questions there.
Yeah, I think that the ones that I get asked the most when I go on calls is how does our stuff integrate with other things, Jenkins, Jira, whether or not we need to replace everything else. And then some specific questions about like CI. So when's it triggered? What controls it? I have a special environment, what determines it? And I think that, Christina, you handled all those questions perfectly. The answer was GitLab CI.yaml file. And for some of the more technical things, you just redirect. So I actually think that some of the questions that I asked, like you clearly explained in the beginning that you don't have a technical background. So I should, like me as the audience, like I have proper expectations, right? And I think that you did a really great job of that.
Thank you.
Great. So moving on to specific helpful hints. Who wants to kick it off?
Well, the only thing that came to mind is that you very often you pause and you say or something, because I think you're looking for the next word and everything. Don't be shy to pause. Just pause and ask, is everything clear that I said so far? Do you need more references to this? Do you have any questions? And while you ask this, think of what you do next. Just ask if everything is clear, and this time think about what you want to do next, to not have those pauses. Other than that, to be honest, it was well structured and everything. And if you have all your tabs open, everything, and you know what you want to show, this is most important. And just figure out in between the pauses how to fill the silence. And I think by asking, is everything clear, and asking questions, that could be beneficial.
Very good feedback. Actually, this is one of my issues generally, to keep a pause, yeah. Well detected.
I really like that feedback. I do that all the time. And then I just start drinking my water, and then it breaks up the monotony of the call, and they get to think about like the things that are shared too and discuss it amongst themselves. Yeah, so for my end, once again, I thought, yeah, you did a really great job overall. One thing that I'd point out is, and this is something that just trying to help y'all clarify, just like how to phrase things. So we talked about issues and how issues are a discrete unit of work. You did a really great job explaining that. And so I talk about in my tutorials that issues are for like buttons, and if, hey, you have to go make a chart, you have to make a shopping cart thing in a website. So I use those examples because they're easy to understand. The vast majority of issues are not for like things like buttons. The vast majority of issue work is like for something that's like hard to explain. So it's like, I need to update this script to use like Ansible version 2.7.1, and I have to update like this very specific technical thing with this parameter. So like when talking about issues, I wouldn't reference websites. Well, actually, let me take that back. I wouldn't talk about specifically like buttons and charts, because I think that maybe issues are 5% of all issues out for our customers are actually like parts of websites, like that are graphical elements. And then the other thing regarding phrasing is like with pipelines, pipeline is a very specific thing per a tool. So a pipeline for a GitLab is different than a Jenkins pipeline, which is different than like Azure DevOps pipeline. So I think that like it would be good to explain a little bit more. Hey, GitLab has this concept of pipelines. What pipelines is it's an automated job, saving you time, money, and allowing you to focus on your business drivers. So, and this is what a pipeline is. Do you have people who do all this stuff manually? Well, they don't have to do that anymore. They can go do something else, right? So that's what a pipeline is. But overall, I thought it was a really great job, and I could definitely tell that you practiced. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Who wants to go next?
I can go next because I have a meeting after. So let's try.
Sounds good.
I will share my screen. Okay. Hey Chris, this is Alexander from GitLab. Nice to meet you. It would be great to, we're here now to like show a little bit off of GitLab like we talked about. And if you would walk me through a little bit your process and tell me what kind of functionality you're most interested in. Let's see if we can walk through them from a basic side. As you know, I'm working as a business developer, so I'm not an engineer, but I will try my best to answer your questions and show you a basic overview of what we do. And should we go into more detail or you need more detailed information, I can send you over lots of information on our documentation side. And if needed, maybe later on have a solution architect assist you. So from my side, what you want to see and what you're most interested in, and let's try to do this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually curious what Goran and Josh think, since y'all are the people who actually have budget in our organization. But from my end, what I'm looking for from the top level view is, I think that my organization, we just run into bottlenecks a lot of the time. And we're just trying to speed up our development processes in general. So specific things that I'm working on is introducing more automation into our environment, and also making sure that we have metrics so that we know when we are coming up with organizational wins. But Josh and Goran, if y'all have any additional things that y'all want to see, I'd love to hear from your perspective as well.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, go for it, Goran.
All right, thanks, Josh. Well, yeah, I mean, just to add on Christopher, I'd like also to see how GitLab can, for example, help us with auto DevOps as well as testing in general, and then we as project managers would like to see the efficiency of the different teams and how they work. So that dashboard that Christopher mentioned on the KPIs and metrics would be relevant. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I just shared my screen. Can you see it? Wonderful. I'm just showing you this on our GitLab.com version. And as you mentioned, you're interested in dashboards. Let me just quickly try to find the proper slide for this. This is an issue board with dashboards. Are you interested in this? This basically shows issue dashboards where you can see all the changes and everything and the priorities, how the changes affected each individual issue? Or are you more interested in, from a project management side, see how it could benefit you to see from a project management point, to see how effective your developers are working and how time efficient?
I think that both would be helpful. Specifically, just having metrics for my organization to know where we can improve would be great.
Okay.
But in all honesty, with the audience that we have here, I feel like a general demo would be helpful as well. So feel free to just like incorporate these things into your general demo. We
Okay, I
don't know
will
very
try.
much about your product, in all honesty. So I got this meeting because
Okay.
I heard about commit and I jumped on one of your sessions, but it's we have a very basic overview of GitLab.
Well, then let me try from the start and then maybe dig deeper when you see something you want to know more about. But this is basically GitLab where you see from the start, where you see our source code management and everything, and you see all our files, and you can dig deeper in every file and see files histories and what we do in our source code management. If you're working with GitHub or with Bitbucket, it's very familiar to yours. The difference between ours and the competition is that everything is basically integrated from the start with our CI, and everything works seamlessly together, which is the benefit of having a single solution in comparison to the competition. If you, for example, look at issues, in issues, another thing that is very different to some of our competitors is that everybody can contribute to issues. And an issue is basically what is your developer working on, and you can see the different changes and what people want to do and want to achieve in this issue. And I don't know why it's that slow. Yeah, and links to issues, very important for project management, are then the burn down charts, where you can see on a graph where issues lie at the moment. And for example, when there would be an estimate when you probably the issue will be done, more issues combined together, you can make an epic out of it or a milestone. And this basically gives you from the project management side an overview if your developers are understaffed or if something is very big and you may need to hire people, just to see from a financial point where you're standing. Epics, like I said, is many issues combined together to one big thing, where you see step by step what needs to be done in what kind of order and everything. And is this something your project management people are looking into? Is this something that you're interested in? Or is this something that, because you have a small team right now, is not big on your agenda?
We use Jira for all of this stuff, so I'm actually curious as to what sort of so we also use Jira for some other things as well. So I'm curious as to how y'all rack up against Jira specifically.
And to be honest, we know that Jira is industry leading in project management. We integrate very well with Jira, so you can have a full Jira integration within GitLab and work your project management issues from this side. But you can, if you upgrade to a certain plan of ours, you can fully replace it in time if you wish to, but you can also work with it side by side and keep using your Jira, especially because of all the history that you probably have established over the years, which is understandable that it's not that easy to replace. But GitLab integrates it completely. So you then not have to switch between two programs and two tools. You will have everything running within GitLab, and you can see everything side by side. Other than that, I have not that much to say about Jira, but I can send you detailed documentation where you can see about the differences, which are slight, and where you can see about the benefits of integrating it. Or if your organization is new, you don't have that much history, you want to save on costs, you might be able to replace it. But I will send you detailed documentation about this. And if we need a deeper discussion about how to maybe integrate or replace Jira, we can set up another call. Or if the documentation is enough, you can ask me some questions maybe later.
Was there also a third option where we could eventually migrate off of Jira into GitLab? So can we actually migrate like our current epics and issues from Jira into GitLab?
I think that is possible, to be honest. I will look deeper into this, but it makes total sense that it is possible. It depends, obviously, how much time this would need, but I'm pretty sure that it is possible. It's probably a matter of time and money, how long it will take. We have lots of different clients who work with Jira side by side. If they, for example, have a long established history with Jira, or they still are in a contract. And in this time, they try to implement it within GitLab and then see if they either want to continue by having it integrated or replacing it, and this time fully integrate with our system, and then in time be able to replace it and save on that license cost. Does this answer the question?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd love to hear more about that. If we have a future meeting, then I'd love to dive into that more, because obviously we don't have that. We would prefer not to have like lots of tools for the same thing.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I will write this down and send you a little bit of documentation over, where you can see how you can replace it, how you can integrate it, where the benefits, how much time it would need. We have lots of documentation about this, and if needed, I will obviously inform one of our solution architects to take a look at this in particular, and then maybe set up another call with you.
Sounds great.
Where are we now? If I jump to the next slide, this is basically a merge request. I'm pretty sure you know what a merge request is, but it's basically when your developers are working on an issue and they then want to make the change, it triggers a merge request. And you can see here what were the changes in red and green. And if you jump to the next, you see the pipeline. The pipeline is basically the automated job that runs in the background when you want to change something. And you can then see what you have configured in your YAML file, what you want to run in this merge request, what you want to run and everything. And this can be lots of different things. The big benefit within GitLab is that many security tests are implemented from the start, to not have you bother at the end that maybe something is not working or something has a security issue or anything. And this is very beneficial to many in the business to just save on costs. But it obviously depends on which tier you want to use. And if you want to learn a little bit about the different tiers and about the different functionalities, we can talk about this also. Because it really depends if you want to take everything in from the GitLab side, or if you want to start with the basics. Like you said, I think before you want to reduce some kind of tools, so it would be interesting for me to know what other tools you are using besides Jira, what you're using right now for source code management, or do you have a dedicated CI tool, or if you use anything for security testing, and then we can see if we can leverage in another call, if it might be useful for you from a financial point of view or from a technical side, how to replace it or how to integrate with it. So my question would be, do you have other tools that you're using right now that you're thinking of replacing, or that you must integrate with us?
Yeah, this is kind of an embarrassing answer, but we, because we are primarily open source, and we're just getting started, so we just got our B round of funding. So security isn't something that we are super focusing on. We're still trying to come up with a MVP for our product that we can show investors and eventually become cash flow positive. That's our first goal for our business. So what we do primarily for security right now is just what's built into GitHub. So we have dependency scanning and some other things that are built out. We use some of GitHub Actions for very basic things like container scanning, but we don't have things like SAST and DAST built in. What type of applications work for SAST and DAST? Is it just web applications, or is it like what sort of? So I'm thinking about like some of these open source projects that we have. I'm just curious as to like if that applies to specifically just web applications, or for all of them, or how does what's the fit there?
To be honest, I don't know, because this is a little bit too deep dive, but I will look it up. I made a note right now that you're interested in this, and I will send documentation over. What we can look up if you want, because you mentioned GitHub and GitHub Actions and everything. I know GitLab has also security dependency scanning and everything included. we can look up what are the difference between the packages, because you just said that you're looking for funding. I guess you're a startup and everything. So the question is, how beneficial is it to just start with our free tier, or what will you gain if you upgrade to, for example, our bronze tier, the starter tier, which will give you certain extra functionality that you might need, for example, technical support, not from a layperson like me, that are just working in business development, but you have a technical team that stands behind it if you have questions. And if this is something you would consider, then I would strongly advise you to take a deeper look into our bronze plan, which I can send you over later, and you can see detailed why people are using this, or we can look over it right now really quick together if you want. And would it be interesting to you to look really quick over our plan and to see what the benefits are if you upgrade to a certain plan, or are you simply just trying everything out now, but no, there's no funding for different kind of plans?
Could I pop in here too? I think that it would be very helpful to look through kind of the pricing that you were just talking about. That as Chris was saying, we are trying to become cash flow positive, and I know there's going to be a cost to any level. So if you could show us a little bit about
sure.
that would be great.
Sure. Basically, what you see here is our tiers, and they're basically called bronze, silver, gold on our SaaS version, and they're called starter, premium, ultimate on our self-managed version. I believe that you're interested in our SaaS version. Is that correct?
I think that's right from what I'm understanding. Would you agree, Chris?
Yeah, we kind of have to have one self-hosted right now.
Okay. Self-hosted. So you want to host it by yourself. So you're interested more in starter, premium, and ultimate, if I now understood you correctly.
Are those the tiers for self-hosted?
Yeah, if you self-host them, they're called starter, premium, and ultimate. The functionalities are very, very similar, and the prices, as you can see, are exactly the same. And to quickly tell you about the differences, basically, when you on our bronze plan, it's for single project management, not for multi-project management. So on the premium tier, you gain lots of agile management and lots of project management tools. And on the starter plan, you gain lots of source code management and issue benefits to the free plan. You also gain lots of shared runners for our CI/CD. And you gain GitLab support, which is something that many, many people, especially startups, take advantage of at the beginning. If you have a bigger team where you have a project management people, and they want to really see and leverage what the developers can do and really plan forward and ahead, I would strongly advise you to look into a premium plan. Also in our premium plan, because you mentioned Jira, you have a completely full integration, and you can really have everything running side by side, and in time really completely replace it and migrate all of the issues and everything. And the Gold Ultimate plan basically focuses a lot on security, and as you just said, security is not that much on your radar. I would take a quick look at it, but probably not for you interesting at the start. So I would say just look into the difference between starter and premium, and see what kind of functionality you say are a must and what kind of functionality you would like to have. Then we can maybe establish another call with one of our account executives to maybe help you from a financial side of view, making a point if it's beneficial to your organization. And other than that, see where you can start. You can always start, for example, on the bronze plan and then upgrade to a silver plan, or starter plan and premium plan. So upgrading and going up the ladder is always possible, which many of our customers do in time. Is there any certain functionality while I'm scrolling through here that you see that piques your eye? For example, burn down charts you gain obviously on the starter package, and more issue board configuration, very important, required merge request approvals, so not everybody can so you really know who approves your merge requests and everything, and you can have it even have multiple approvals for your code and everything. So like I said, issue management and merge requests are getting more deep, or you're getting more deeper detailed control over, and it gets much more professional functioning and everything. And if we scroll down and go a little bit then into the next plan, you can see when it comes to labels, epics, you can have multiple issue boards, because I said one is a single project management, the other one is for multiple projects. So you gain lots of functionality if you have many different projects running and everything. If epics become interesting, roadmaps becomes interesting. This is also very beneficial in premium. And what you also gain is priority support, which is basically not next day support, but it's, I think, within 4 hours you get an answer from us, but within 24 hours I think we work it through. But I can look this up for you and send you the support page where you can see the detailed differences between our support. And I will also send you later on where you can really look through what our plans, what our customers, why our customers are using certain kind of plans, and what are the basic benefits of those plans. And you can then see really very easily the benefits. Yeah. And for what I see, because you're using Jira, I would strongly advise you to look into the premium plan first, see if all of this is interesting to you and can be beneficial to your organization, and then move forward. Is there anything you want to see while I was scrolling through here where you think like, okay, roadmaps is very interesting to me, I want to see how you do this? Or is there anything you want me to show regarding specifics to plans? Or do you have an overview right now that you think, okay, it piqued my interest, I will send you more information over, and then we can collaborate on another call, because I think we're running out of time soon. So I want to just finish up and say, do you have any questions? And I will try to answer them right now, or send you over information after.
Yeah, I don't know about Josh and Goran, but I got another meeting coming up in about like a minute and a half. I think that sending over documentation sounds good. Josh and Goran, do you have any additional things that you'd like to ask or next steps?
Yeah, I think that documentation would be helpful considering the meeting. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So I will, just to recap everything, I will send you over documentation about our dashboards. I will send you documentation over about, I think, security and application testing you mentioned, and the Jira integration, everything regarding Jira and GitLab, and about the benefits about our starter and our premium plan, and what are the differences. Did I miss anything, or does that sound okay?
That sounds great.
Wonderful. Then thank you so much for this short demonstration, getting to know your business a little bit better. I will send a follow-up email right after this call, and with documentations and everything. And if you have any kind of questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Or if you want to set up another call, we can establish this. I will include a link where we can set up another call. And just let me know when you dig through the documentation if there's any open questions, and then we can see how we can move forward.
Sounds great. Thank you, Alex.
Wonderful. Then have a good day, and talk to you soon, hopefully. Goodbye.
Round of applause for Alex. Cool. You came in, you were over time. You came in at 21 minutes and 40 seconds, which is fine. Sometimes calls go long. We all know how that works. So first, put the mic in your hand. What do you think about it? How did you feel? You know, if you could do it over again, what do you think? Like, I'm just curious as to what you thought about it.
I would need to look at that, because I just opened the slides before the before I started and everything, because I didn't prepare that I will do a demo right now. So I will need to look into the tabs and everything in more detail, so I really know where is what for me, just to have it better open and anything. Other than that, yeah, I have a little bit of better structure, I would say would be nice. But other than that, I think I winged it pretty okay. And yeah, I'm thinking sometimes of maybe showing them a different kind of documentation right away, because I saw that this happens many times when I'm on a call with a prospect and they have questions, and I share my screen and I show them directly our documentation page and go with them through some kind of answers. Well, I see the AEs also do it many times, just quickly show them, because our documentation is enormous, it's huge, and there's basically an answer for everything. And also I forgot to show the maturity page, which is always interesting to see where we can where we are leading and where we are improving, but what we can do and what is the difference between many tools. Because you mentioned your startup, so I should have probably showed you this to see that there's where you can save, because we're a single application from A to Z, and implementing different tools costs money. And when you're just about to start your business, maybe think about having one tool to save on costs and have better collaboration, everything, push a little bit more on those value drivers. But other than that, I think it was okay.
Sounds great. Well, now open it up for positive feedback. What did y'all like? The mic is yours.
One thing that I noticed was I thought you asked really, really good questions throughout the whole process. It seemed like you understood kind of the pain points that everyone was experiencing, and so I really appreciated that. It was like kind of like a constant probing into the psychology behind all of this. So I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but that was just something that stuck out to me. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it made it more interactive. You let them have the kind of voice and kind of see where they want to lead the conversation, and it wasn't just kind of a robotic demo in that sense. But yeah, I definitely agree there. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it makes it easier if you have a conversation going and not just demoing everything, because it is hard for us to just demo everything because we don't know what the customer wants. And B, if you just have an open communication, you also learn about the customer, which is important information for us. So it's easier if you have an open dialogue and just show them some things step by step and on the basic side. And I think if we do it more and more often, it will become more natural, and we will know exactly where to look, where to click, where to show what, and anticipate already, okay, now will come the question of this, and then boom, open maybe some documentation and show them. So that's the goal.
Yeah, I have a lot of good things written down for you. The main thing that I really, really liked is I really loved how you remembered all of your individual action points. So that's like one of the keys that I had when I was doing direct to business sales at Red Hat. I remembered every single thing that I wrote it in this notepad, and then that's how I built credibility with the customer. So it's like these long deal cycles, maybe 5 to 10 different meetings, remembering every single thing that the customer ever asked and delivering it in like 24 to 48 hours. And so now the customer trusts you and sees you as like a consistent value add, and now just wants to have more meetings with you. So there are 5 different things that you said that you do, and you remembered them. And I think that that's something that like is very, very powerful. So I loved how you did that. I also really liked asking how you polled us for what we wanted in the beginning. I think that that's something that's really, really good. I wouldn't directly, I think that there's pros and cons for doing this. The pro is that now your conversation's tailored. The con is that the vast majority of our customers do not know about the vast majority of the things that we do. So we can sort of pigeonhole ourselves into this conversation. So it's like, customer wants to know about CI. You explain our CI, great. But there's also like 80% more value for GitLab outside of that. So sort of like pivoting from that and saying, yeah, I'd love to share you some of these things just so you know GitLab truly is one tool for the entire DevOps lifecycle. Show the maturity page, like you already said. We literally have 10 product stages. How many tools do you use for this? You use 15? Well, great. You can consolidate down to 1, right? So that's the pros and cons of having a tailored approach. I think that both are important, where you do take the customer feedback into consideration, but you build off of that and you take that trusted advisor approach where it's like, literally, we do everything else. So I thought that that was all really good I think that your strength out of all the conversations that we had today is that you're obviously very technical. You understand the customer journey, you understand the product, you understand the space. That comes across very clearly. And I think that, yeah, so that's something that's very good. Great. Okay, so let's talk about constructive things real quick. I think that for me, like I'd say that things are overwhelmingly positive. The two things that I would mention is don't get down on yourself for being an SDR. Like you honestly did a better job of explaining the product than a lot of the SMB AEs that I talked to. A lot of the SMB AEs that I talked to, they just pitch to the SA and they can't explain anything themselves. So like you have more knowledge than a lot of those people. And so it's sort of like there is that balance between like setting proper expectations up front. Hey, by the way, I don't have an engineering background, but for you in particular, like your strength is that you know the space and the product really well. So like, I wouldn't be shy about that. And yeah, I mean, the questions that you asked are very insightful. So it's like you add value in terms of the questions and the insight that you bring. So that's one thing that I'd say. The other thing that I'd say is I'd throw in more breaks into the presentation itself. So it's like my background's music and it's like, here's this music idea. Now throw in 4 measures of just like pause, and that's super dramatic and it's super like powerful, right? And I think that you did do a good job of asking us like, hey, what do you think about this? Is there anything else that you'd like to see? But just sort of like changing your vocal inflection. See what I just did over there? I threw in a pause, right? So it's like you can pause for dramatic effect. You can pause to make them think. In terms of just the presentation, when you speak, it's sort of like the same, just like keeps on chugging along. So I think that if you throw in some pauses, mix things up, I think that it would make, it could have definitely help. So
yeah, definitely.
Overall, really great job.
Yeah, I heard this many times. It's when I'm sometimes in the flow, I stop breathing and I keep talking, then I go faster and faster and faster. And I need to establish the positive for myself and be also, like, when you say something interesting, when you say something good about the product, pause a little bit, let it sink in, then maybe a question comes of it, or the people take it more serious, and it's like a wow effect. So I'm working on this. Very good catch on this, and thank you.
Yeah, and I think that I get nervous when I present too sometimes. And then so it's just sort of like, I actually pause sometimes to settle my emotions. And then, so it's serving a bunch of different pause like functions. 1 is creating effect, 2, letting them think, but 3, now like I can just sort of like take a bunch of breaths real quick. So there's a lot of functions for it. Great.
Yeah, I always before a call, I'm sorry. Always before a call, I fill up my coffee mug or my water, and I try to like zip in between. So I do pauses and I try to drink water in between. And I think I didn't do this time. It helps me a lot to like pause, have a sip of water, reflect, and then keep going forward.
Great. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think from constructive feedback side, we are at that point, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Christopher. I think, like since you know more around the product and you're trying to cover as much as possible, I think sometimes, and yeah, having that break is important just to see, because sometimes, we can say a lot, but maybe the audience maybe doesn't know exactly, if they understood it well or not, something like that. So
yeah,
I
sometimes
think
saying less and let them figure out what you want to say next is better than saying it out loud.
Yeah, it depends on the audience, but like, yeah, I think you have a lot of knowledge and like you try to cover everything and go as fast as possible. But I guess as sometimes, establishing that slower mojo and maybe saying less, but for fewer things. I'm not sure. In 20 minutes, how much you can do for a demo GitLab. It's also kind of a tricky timeline. It's not 10 minutes, it's not short, it's not 30 minutes, medium long. So it's kind of in between.
Yeah, that's why I think if we do it more often and you figure out certain cases where, you will show this and that, because you will just have it done hundreds of times. It will get easier, and you will be able to anticipate what the customer wants to see, or if you have already information because of your email conversation or a call before, then you will know exactly, and then it will be smoother and less hectic, and you can focus more on this. So in time, it will get easier. That's the purpose why we're doing this, I think.
Agree. Thanks.
All right, one final round of applause for Alexander. Johan, I know that you didn't go to the first session, so I don't expect you to present today. Goran, are you ready to present?
No.
Or did I mix people up? Okay.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you mixed it up.
Okay. Is anyone else ready to present today? Or if not, then that's fine.
I mean, we can have, I don't know, when is the next time slot?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just think I'll follow up with that with you in terms of that async. Just be mindful of everyone's time. All right, so to recap, did y'all feel like this was a helpful experience? I'm curious as to what, so it's like everyone went. What do y'all think? Like, did you feel like you learned something? What do y'all think?
Totally, 100%. I mean, I think it's really interesting hearing everyone's, let's say, unique point of view and how they tailor it, which unique style they use. And as Alex said, or as everyone agreed, I mean, these things just take practice. I mean, you get more into it, you get more in the flow as time goes, and you kind of get used to the questions that are asked, and let's say what questions should be asked. So I think this is a typical standard, like, practice makes perfect thing. So I love these, and yeah. So yeah, I think it's really valuable. So thanks to everyone who went, and yeah, good job.
Yeah, I think it's very beneficial if you do this live and with more people and not on a one-on-one, because you just learn by listening to the others, because everybody talks a little bit different. Everybody does the steps a little bit different, talks about the in-between a little bit different. You can learn from everybody because we're all completely have different approaches, and then you can in time measure how you want to do it and what you've learned. And that's why let's repeat, keep doing this, and we will get all better.
Sounds great. All right, well, thanks everyone for y'all who went today. If not, then don't worry, there'll be another session. I'll follow up with Goran and Johan, and hope everyone has a really great rest of the day.
Thanks, Chris. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Chris. Bye.